Hey, welcome to Salon Girl Gardens. So, I was tagged in a video by Michigan Garden Gal about the 3 things that I learned from my garden this year. Michigan Garden Gal and I have connected via YouTube, and she has an amazing garden in Michigan. So, she tagged me in this video, and so here's the 3 things that I learned about my garden this year. Number 1 lesson, light requirements. So I'm in a small suburban North Texas backyard. When I first moved onto my property, it was a brand new build, had nothing in the backyard except grass. And the first week I was in my house, a hawk came and swooped in and took my kitty. Yep, you heard that right. Sad. So I quickly started Googling hawk-proof backyard garden plans, and essentially I came up with a plan that basically puts barriers in the middle of the yard so the hawk couldn't swoop in and swoop out and take one of your beloved pets. Anyway, so I've had this garden plan in full swing for 16 years, and while it has served me quite well, provides a lot of shade. Unfortunately, it has provided a lot of shade, and I have since decided that growing food is going to be a priority for me now. So, as we all know, fruits and vegetables need 6 to 8 hours of full sun, and I'm just not getting that in my yard. So next year, I'm going to start removing trees in order to create more sun. So let me show you what I'm talking about. This is a chinkapin oak tree, which will stay because my parents gave it to me as a housewarming present when I first bought my home. It's beautiful and it's native, and it's a Texas superstar, and I love it, so it's going to stay. However, what's not going to stay is this Vitex. Now, the Vitex was never supposed to get this large. It was only supposed to be 15 feet. It's easily 40 feet, and it drops tons of viable seeds, which turn into little Vitex plants. And you can see how much shade it casts throughout the yard. So next year it is on my list for tree removal for the purposes of garnering more sunlight. The mimosa tree will stay. I adore mimosa. A lot of people think they're trash trees, but I love them, and I don't have a problem with new mimosas sprouting up. This whole space over here could so be utilized for growing vegetables, and that's what I would like. So, removing this tree and all the seed pods it creates, I think will be a very beneficial thing for me to do in the garden for next year. So just a quick word on your space, your garden space. You know, just because I had this plan in place and it served me very well for 16 years, it doesn't mean that I have to hold fast to it. Goals change, needs change, and you shouldn't feel locked into the garden plan that you originally did. Since my goals are changing now into more food growing, I have no problem taking out these trees to better utilize my garden space. So if something isn't working for you and it's just not making you happy in your garden, change it. You have one life, one garden. Change it and be happy. Yes, it may take a little bit more work. I might have to hire somebody to come in and cut down those trees, but in the end, I'm going to create more sunlight in which to grow more vegetables, which in turn is going to make me happy. So just do it. Just change. Don't be afraid of change or hard work. So all this sunlight that's in this area, can you now imagine after that tree is removed how much sun it's going to create in this area, over the pond, up into the chinkapin oak tree. It's going to create tons of sunlight. So the number 2 thing that I have learned from my garden this year, as well as creating more sun, is to start saving my seeds. And I've started saving seeds so that I can propagate my garden next year and not have to buy new plants. So pretty economical. The seeds that I'm able to save right this minute are 4 o'clock seeds, which is an old heirloom pass-along plant, and I'm harvesting Anaheim pepper seeds right now. I'll also be doing oregano and some basil seeds when they dry out. The third and final lesson that I have learned from my garden this year is to fertilize. I was always of the opinion that any plant that I brought into my yard would need to grow and thrive on its own without any extraordinary help from me, and it would just have to learn to survive. However, I follow Laura from Garden Answer, and I have learned from her to fertilize my annuals with water-soluble fertilizer once a week. And the proof is in the pudding. They did phenomenally this year with the fertilization. So I'm using a store-bought water-soluble fertilizer, and I'm also utilizing a resource that I have naturally in my garden from my fish pond. Now, my fish pond has water in it that is high in nitrogen and other minerals, and I scoop out a pitcher full of water, and I'm fertilizing the plants in my 4x4 raised beds and some of my other annuals. This does 2 things. It helps my fish pond by clearing out some of the debris that falls in it naturally, and it is good for the plants because I'm not watering them with chlorinated water, and it's also providing nutrients from the fish waste to the plants. So it's kind of a haphazard hydroponic system, I guess, but it's free, it's available, and it's good for the plants and the fish. So that is my third thing that I have learned from this year that I'll be doing next year. Once a week, every Sunday, I fertilize this with a water-soluble fertilizer. And here we are, end of October, and look at how it's performing still. It's just amazing. I have extremely docile fish who don't mind at all me dipping into this pond and getting some of their water. So the fish create waste, which then turn into worms and nutrients that then you can water your veggies with, and it's a symbiotic relationship. So that concludes my little vlog on the 3 things that I learned from my garden this year. I hope you found it useful, and I'd especially like to thank Michigan Garden Gal for tagging me in this video. And Michigan Garden Gal, I totally think that we would be friends if we lived in the same state. Well, we're friends now through YouTube, but yeah, I totally think we would hit it off. We could talk hair and gardening, I'm sure, all day long. So I really appreciate you tagging me in this video, and I look forward to more of your videos with your lovely space. I simply love what you've done with your garden because you layer your plants, and that is something that I need to work on as well. The 3 YouTubers that I'm tagging for this 3 things you've learned in your garden series are Bloom Where You're Planted. She's here in Dallas. The second YouTuber I'd like to tag in this series is Unpolished Gardens. She's a new channel just like me, and she has the blessing of gardening on acres, and I'm enjoying watching what she's doing so far with her garden. And the third YouTuber I'm tagging in this series is a second from Michigan Garden Gal's recommendation, and that's Steve's Growing Space in the UK. Because he's in the UK, and it's kind of cool that you get to see what other people are doing in other countries. So check all three of them out. I think you'll enjoy what they have to offer and bring to the YouTube table. In the end, it's all about community and lifting people up and sharing knowledge with gardeners and helping other people get inspired with their gardens. So, thanks so much for joining me, and goodbye from Texas.